The stories begin like whispers. They are quiet at first. They are easy to dismiss. They start on forgotten internet forums and late-night radio shows. People share tales of strange encounters. They describe children who are not quite children. These are not playground ghosts or friendly spirits. They are something else entirely, something cold, something hungry. The legend of the black-eyed children, or BEKs, as they are often called, is a uniquely modern phenomenon. It taps into our deepest, most primal fears about the familiar being twisted into something monstrous and unrecognizable. These are not tales from ancient castles. They are born from our own quiet streets and lonely doorsteps. The origin of this chilling folklore is often traced back to a specific account. A journalist named Brian Bethel shared his story in 1996. He wrote about two boys who approached him in his car late one night. They asked for a ride. But something was wrong. A profound, unnatural fear washed over him. He looked closely at them. Their eyes were not human. They were solid black orbs. No sclera, no iris, just an endless inky void. This single story opened the floodgates. Suddenly, others began to share their own similar terrifying experiences. The pattern was always the same, a polite request, an overwhelming sense of dread, and those terrible black eyes. These children are said to appear out of nowhere. They emerge from the shadows of quiet suburban neighborhoods. They stand on lonely roadsides under the pale glow of a single streetlight. Their appearance is consistently unsettling. They often have pale, almost waxy skin that looks sickly and unnatural. Their clothing is sometimes described as odd or slightly out of date, as if they are wearing hand-me-downs from another era, but it is their demeanor that truly sets them apart. They speak with a flat, emotionless tone. Their words are polite, but the delivery is chillingly robotic, devoid of any warmth or human inflection. They are a paradox of innocence and pure menace. The fear they inspire is not a simple jump scare. It is a deep, soul-crushing dread. Witnesses report feeling a fight-or-flight response that is almost paralyzing. It feels instinctual, as if some ancient part of the human brain is screaming a warning that these are not lost children in need of help. They are predators wearing a disguise. They are something that should not be allowed inside. Not inside your car. Not inside your home. Not ever. The lore of the black-eyed children has spread like a contagion, becoming a prominent fixture in the landscape of modern paranormal horror, a testament to our fear of the unknown knocking at our very own doors. Imagine a quiet suburban street. It is late. The world is asleep. The only light comes from the moon and the lonely hum of a few street lamps. This is their hunting ground. This is where the first unsettling glimpse often occurs. A shadow detaches itself from the deeper darkness. It resolves into a small figure, then another. They are children, perhaps 10 or 12 years old. They stand silently, watching. They seem out of place. Why are they out so late? Where are their parents? The questions form in your mind, but they are quickly replaced by a cold, creeping unease. Something is fundamentally wrong with this picture. One account tells of a man driving home after a late shift. His car's headlights swept across the sidewalk. They illuminated two boys standing by the curb. Their heads were down. Their faces were obscured by shadow. The man slowed his car, thinking they might need help. He rolled down his window. "Are you kids okay?" he asked. One of them looked up. The streetlight caught his face. His skin was pale like porcelain under the cold, artificial light. His eyes were what stopped the man's heart. They were completely black. There was no white, no color, just two deep, dark pools that seemed to drink the light around them. The children's movements are often described as slow and deliberate. They do not run or play. They walk with a strange, almost gliding motion. They seem to lack the boundless energy of normal kids. They appear tired, somber, and eerily focused. Another witness, a woman walking her dog, saw a young girl standing near a park bench long after midnight. The girl was dressed in a simple, dark dress. She wasn't crying or calling for help. She was just standing there, perfectly still. The woman felt a powerful urge to cross the street, to avoid her at all costs. She couldn't explain the feeling, but it was overwhelming. These street encounters are the preamble to the real terror. They are the initial contact. The children seem to be testing the waters. They are sizing you up. They are waiting for a moment of weakness, for a crack in your defenses. The sight of them on a deserted street is enough to make the hair on your arms stand up. It triggers a primal alarm bell deep within the psyche. Your mind struggles to process what your eyes are seeing. A child should not look like that. A child should not feel like that. And as they take their first step toward you, you know with absolute certainty that you are in the presence of something truly ancient and malevolent. The sound is what you notice first, a soft, hesitant knock. It is not the confident rap of a neighbor. It is not the rhythmic tap of a delivery person. It is a quiet, deliberate sound that cuts through the silence of the night. Tap, tap, tap. You are not expecting anyone. It is well past the hour for visitors. A flicker of annoyance gives way to curiosity and then to a sliver of fear. Who could be at the door at this time? You move toward the peephole, your heart starting to beat a little faster. The porch light casts a weak flickering glow on the figure standing outside. It's a child, a small boy, standing alone. A sense of relief washes over you, but it is fleeting. It is immediately replaced by a wave of cold dread. This feeling has no logical source. Why would you be afraid of a child? Yet the fear is undeniable. It is a physical sensation, like a block of ice forming in your stomach. You hesitate. Your hand hovers over the doorknob. The boy does not move. He simply waits. He seems to know you are there. He seems to be waiting for you to acknowledge him. The silence stretches on, thick and heavy. Then, another knock, a little more insistent this time. Tap, tap, tap. The sound echoes the frantic beating of your own heart. Many who have experienced this describe the overwhelming pressure they feel. It is a mental push, an unspoken command to open the door. It feels as if the children are projecting their will, trying to force you to comply. One homeowner recounted looking through his peephole to see two children, a boy and a girl, standing on his porch. They were looking down, their faces hidden. He felt a sudden, irrational panic. He backed away from the door, his breath catching in his throat. He heard a voice, muffled by the wood of the door. "Let us in," it said. The voice was flat and devoid of any emotion, yet the demand was absolute. This is the critical moment, the threshold, the barrier between the safety of your home and the unknown horror waiting outside. Every instinct screams at you to keep the door locked. Do not engage. Do not speak to them. Do not let them in. The request is always simple. Let us in. We need to use your phone. We are lost. They sound like reasonable requests. They play on our natural impulse to help a child in need. But behind the polite words lies a chilling ultimatum. The encounter on the doorstep is a battle of wills. It is a test of your resolve against an ancient and patient evil that wants nothing more than to be invited inside. Should you make the mistake of opening the door or even just looking too closely, you will see their eyes. This is the feature that defines them. It is the detail that burns itself into the memory of every witness. They are not simply dark eyes. They are not the deep brown or blue of a normal human. They are solid black. A perfect, seamless, and terrifying void. There is no white, no sclera. There is no iris to give them color or depth. It is like looking into two small black holes. They are flat, lifeless, and utterly devoid of light or reflection. They do not seem to see you. They seem to absorb you. The experience of looking into these eyes is profoundly disturbing. Witnesses report a feeling of being mentally violated. It feels as though the children are looking past your eyes and directly into your soul. They are searching for something. They are assessing you. The feeling is one of complete and total exposure. One man who opened his door just a crack described the moment he met their gaze. He said it felt like a jolt of electricity. All the air was sucked from his lungs. He felt a sudden, dizzying vertigo, as if he were falling into those two black pits. He slammed the door shut, his body trembling uncontrollably. The children's faces, often pale and featureless, serve only to frame the horror of their eyes. Their expressions are blank. They do not smile. They do not frown. They simply stare. This lack of emotion makes the experience even more terrifying. A monster that snarls or growls is understandable. But a child who looks at you with empty, soulless eyes and shows no feeling whatsoever is a far more deeply unsettling concept. It is the ultimate perversion of innocence. Their gaze is not one of anger or malice. It is one of cold, detached hunger, a predatory emptiness that sees you not as a person, but as a thing to be consumed. The psychological impact of this moment cannot be overstated. People are left shaken for days, weeks, even years. The image of those eyes is seared into their minds. They see them when they close their own eyes to sleep. The memory triggers the same primal fear they felt on the doorstep. It is a fear that comes from looking upon something that is not of this world, something that is wearing a human suit, but the disguise is imperfect. The eyes are the giveaway. They are the windows to a soul that is not there. They are the definitive proof that you are face to face with something inhuman. The arrival of the black-eyed children is always accompanied by a palpable change in the atmosphere. It's more than just a feeling of fear, you know. It's actually a physical shift in the environment. The air grows cold, like really cold. It's a sudden, unnatural chill that has nothing to do with the weather at all. Witnesses describe it as a dead cold, a dampness that seems to cling to the skin and seep right into the bones. People who were sitting comfortably in their warm living rooms suddenly find themselves shivering as the children stand on their porch. The warmth of the home just seems to be leached away, replaced by that icy presence on the other side of the door. This cold is often joined by an oppressive silence. The normal ambient sounds of the night, the chirp of crickets, the distant hum of traffic, the rustle of leaves, all seem to just fade away. It's as if the children exist within a bubble of absolute quiet. A vacuum where the natural world ceases to exist. One woman who encountered them described how her barking dog suddenly fell completely silent the moment the children appeared at her glass patio door. The dog didn't whimper or growl. It just stood there, frozen, hackles raised, staring at the small figures outside. The silence, she said, was honestly more terrifying than the barking had been. Beyond the cold and the silence, there's the overwhelming sense of dread. This is, by far, the most consistently reported element of any BK encounter. It's a profound and irrational terror that grips the witness. It's not just fear, it's a feeling of being in the presence of pure evil. It's an instinctual knowledge that you're facing a predator that's far more powerful than you are. This dread is often described as a heavy weight, a pressure on the chest that makes it difficult to breathe. It clouds your thoughts and makes it hard to think rationally. Your only focus becomes the source of the terror, the children. These atmospheric effects suggest that the children's influence isn't purely psychological. They seem to have a tangible, physical effect on their surroundings. They bring the cold with them. They impose silence. They radiate an aura of menace that can be felt by both humans and animals. This paranormal element, well, it really elevates the encounters from a simple mystery to a truly supernatural horror. It suggests that these are not just strange kids playing a prank. They're entities that can manipulate the environment around them, bending reality to create an atmosphere of pure, unadulterated terror before they even speak a single word. There is a peculiar quality to many of the accounts of black-eyed children. The descriptions often evoke the feeling of old, degraded media. They feel like a memory recorded on a worn-out VHS tape. The world seems to lose its high-definition clarity. The lighting becomes harsh and distorted. Colors appear washed out. dominated by cold blues and sickly yellows. The flickering of a porch light is not just a flicker. It is a rhythmic strobing that makes the scene feel disjointed and unreal. This visual distortion adds to the sense of displacement, as if the witness has slipped into a different, more menacing version of reality. The visual effect is often described as grainy. Like watching an old home movie, the air itself seems to be filled with a fine, dancing static. The edges of objects become soft and indistinct. The children's forms, in particular, seem to shimmer and waver slightly, especially around their outlines. They are not quite solid. This effect is most pronounced in low-light conditions, where the shadows seem to writhe and move on their own. It is a subtle but deeply unnerving phenomenon that makes the encounter feel like a waking nightmare, or a scene from a forgotten horror film. This VHS tape reality extends to the auditory experience as well. Sounds become muffled and distorted. The children's voices, already flat and robotic, are sometimes described as having a slight electronic buzz, or hum, beneath them. It is as if they are being broadcast from a poor-quality speaker. Other ambient sounds might take on a strange, echoing quality. The knock on the door might sound both near and far away at the same time. This auditory fuzziness disorients the witness, further breaking down their sense of a stable, predictable world and plunging them deeper into the terrifying unreality of the encounter. This VHS effect may be a clue to the nature of these beings. Are they somehow existing between frequencies? Are they entities from another dimension whose presence causes our reality to warp and degrade, like a weak television signal? The grainy visuals and distorted sounds could be the side effects of their intrusion into our world. They are not fully here. They are bleeding through from somewhere else. This concept makes the encounters even more frightening. It implies that the solid world we take for granted is fragile, and that there are things on the other side that can look through the static and ask to be let in. The way the black-eyed children speak is one of the most unsettling aspects of the phenomenon. Their words are almost always polite. They use phrases like please, ma'am, or sir. They present a problem that seems to require a simple, compassionate response. May we come in? We need to use your telephone to call our parents. Our mother will be here soon. On the surface, these are the words of lost and frightened children. But the delivery is what betrays their true nature. There is no fear in their voice. There is no urgency. There is no emotion at all. It is a hollow, monotonous drone. The voice is often described as being surprisingly articulate and adult-like. The grammar is perfect. The cadence is steady and measured. It is as if the words have been rehearsed, learned from a script. They lack the natural rhythm and inflection of human speech. A witness who spoke to them through his door said it sounded like a computer-synthesized voice from the early days of computing. It was clear, but completely lifeless. This disconnect between the polite, childlike words and the cold, robotic delivery is profoundly disturbing. It is a performance, and a poor one at that. The mask of innocence is thin, and the voice reveals the monster beneath. Furthermore, the children seem to have an uncanny ability to counter any excuse you might give. If you say you cannot let them in because you are busy, they will respond, "It won't take long." If you offer to make a phone call for them, they will insist, "No, we need to come inside to make the call." They are relentless. Their politeness is not a sign of respect. It is a tool. It is a persistent, grinding pressure designed to wear you down. They do not get angry. They do not raise their voice. They simply repeat their demand with the same unnerving calm until you either give in or slam the door in their face. This relentless, polite demanding creates a terrible psychological bind for the witness. Society has conditioned us to help children. To refuse their request feels wrong, even cruel. Yet, every instinct screams that to acquiesce is to invite doom. The children exploit this conflict. They use our own compassion and social conditioning against us. Their flat, soulless voice is the constant chilling reminder that this is not a normal situation. It is the voice of something that has learned to mimic human interaction, but has no understanding of human emotion. It is the voice of the predator, patiently asking the prey to open the cage. For those who have the strength to refuse the children, the encounter often ends as abruptly and mysteriously as it began. The moment the door is shut and locked, the moment the car window is rolled up, the moment the final no is spoken, the children simply disappear. They do not run away. They do not walk down the street. They vanish. Witnesses have described slamming the door, their heart pounding in their chest, and then immediately looking through the peephole or window, only to find the porch or sidewalk completely empty. There is no sound of retreating footsteps. There is no sign of them anywhere. This vanishing act is complete and total. One man, after refusing 2 children entry to his home, immediately ran upstairs to a second-story window that overlooked his entire front yard and the street beyond. There was nowhere they could have gone so quickly without being seen. The street was empty. The yard was empty. It was as if they had dissolved into the night air. This is a common theme in the reports. The children are there 1 second, exerting an immense and terrifying pressure, and the next second, they are simply gone. There is no logical explanation for their disappearance. The aftermath of their departure is an eerie calm. The oppressive silence they brought with them lifts. The unnatural cold dissipates. The normal sounds of the night slowly creep back in. The crickets start chirping again. The dog might give a confused whine. But the sense of dread lingers long after they are gone. The witness is left alone in the sudden quiet, questioning their own sanity. Did that really just happen? The only proof is the lingering, icy fear and the unforgettable image of those solid black eyes burned into their memory. They leave no footprints, no fingerprints, no physical evidence of their existence. The suddenness of their disappearance adds another layer of mystery to the phenomenon. It defies the laws of physics. It reinforces the idea that these are not physical beings in the way that we understand them. They are more like apparitions or interdimensional entities that can phase in and out of our reality at will. Their ability to vanish without a trace is perhaps the final terrifying confirmation that they are not of this world. They came from nowhere, and to nowhere they have returned, leaving behind a terrified witness who will forever be haunted by the memory of the night the darkness came knocking. After the encounter is over, after the door is locked and the children have vanished into the night, the question remains. It is a question that echoes in the mind of every witness and every person who hears these chilling tales. What are the black-eyed children? There are no easy answers. The phenomenon is too strange, too inconsistent for a simple explanation. Are they ghosts, demons, extraterrestrials in disguise? Or are they something else entirely, something for which we have no name? The mystery is as deep and as dark as their soulless eyes. Some theories propose that they are a type of demonic entity. Their need to be invited into a home is a classic element of vampire and demon folklore. These beings are said to lack the power to cross a threshold uninvited. Their goal, in this view, is to gain access to a person's home, and by extension, their life and soul, by tricking them into granting permission. Their black eyes are seen as a mark of their demonic nature, a window into the soulless abyss from which they came. Their polite but persistent demands are a form of spiritual warfare, a test of the victim's will. Another popular theory suggests they are some form of alien or hybrid being. In this interpretation, their strange appearance, the pale skin, the odd clothing, and the black eyes, is a result of their non-human biology. The black eyes could be protective lenses or their natural optical organs. Their need to get inside could be part of a larger agenda of abduction or observation. Their emotionless voices and lack of understanding of human social cues fit the profile of an alien entity attempting to mimic human behavior based on observation rather than genuine understanding. They are alien scientists or scouts, and we are their specimens. Ultimately, we are left with no definitive answers, only unsettling questions. The stories of the black-eyed children serve as a powerful modern campfire tale, a warning that the world is not as safe or as understood as we like to believe. They remind us that there are still dark corners of our own neighborhoods, still unexplained phenomena that defy all logic. Whether they are demons, aliens, or simply a potent urban legend that has taken on a life of its own, the black-eyed children represent a fundamental fear. The fear of the unknown, the fear of the predator disguised as the innocent, and the fear of what might happen if you answer that soft, polite knock at your door in the middle of the night.